Hello everyone, welcome to Career Week. It's our first week and we are here to talk to Ms. Sridevi. Sridevi ma'am is an IIM alumnus. In fact, she is also on board of governors of IIM Kozhikode. She has pursued her BSc and Masters in Psychology and moved to the finance sector. Welcome ma'am.
Thank you.
Ma'am is a seasoned management professional with a varied background in banking, insurance, courier, real estate and automobile industries. In fact, now she has taken her leap and is into the coaching business. So we are here to interview ma'am on the banking segment. So let us see what insights we can get from ma'am on banking sector. Ma'am, before we start the discussion, a little bit on your background.
Yes.
On your education, you have moved from science to finance. So could you elaborate a little on how this transition took place?
So like any other young graduate of my days, I was a very confused child myself. I did my BSc in zoology because it was my passion to pursue something in science. But then as I was coming out, I realized that jobs were far and few for somebody like me who had pursued science. I had to probably invest a few more years into further education before I could, really start going to work. I was a bit impatient. It's not like work wasn't happening, but I really wanted to, cut my teeth in the corporate world. So I jumped into the first job that I got, and then I realized that I have the management streak in me. So then I pursued a degree in management, and that came much later. In fact, I dabbled in the corporate world, and then when I could find myself, when I found my rhythm, is when I went back to school. I took up a degree in strategy and finance from IIM Kozhikode. I did an executive MBA. And as they say, the rest is history.
Great, ma'am. So, ma'am, you moved from science into the commerce segment. So, what made you choose banking in particular?
Okay, I think I did not choose banking. Banking chose me. That's quite a bashful line to say. But then, okay, what happened was, I was in the customer service field. I was doing customer service, so I went in through a lot of industries because my stream of work was the same. So if you look into my career, I started off with telemarketing, then I went into real estate, then I went into couriers, then I went into insurance is when I got a glimpse of the financial world, That's when I started understanding how exciting it is to be in the world of finance. I worked with Max New York Life and then I worked with ING Vysya. In ING Vysya, I was the sales support head for a channel called Bank Assurance. So Bank Assurance is basically where you are selling insurance through the branch banking channels, the typical bank channel that you see in the bank on the roads today. Yeah. So that kind of got me interested in the fact that what happens inside the bank. I was curious. So though I was going there as an insurance representative, I used to try and find out what is the work that they do. That got me interested, and then I applied for a banking job and I got through. And once I got through, there was no looking back. I did about 15 to 16 years in banking alone.
Great. So, ma'am, what I understand is you took your time to find your way to banking.
Absolutely.
You took a lot of turns, twists, and then you came into banking.
Falls.
Yeah, as they say. So, if you look back and if there was a chance that you could pursue banking a little earlier, would that be great for you?
From day one, yes. I wish, Yogesh, there was somebody to guide me at that point in time, especially when you're coming out as a young graduate. And I also wear the hat of a life coach when I'm speaking to you. Is the years 21 to 24 is an inflection point. Psychologically also, that's a point in the human life where you are at your passionate best. You actually want to do so many things that at that point in time that it can also overwhelm you, it can also confuse you. You also see your peers having gone ahead and stabilized themselves somewhere. They may have joined family businesses, or somebody must be pursuing medicine. Somebody must have gone abroad, and by then you are in such a hurry to settle down, and get your first visiting card that you kind of make compromises with yourself. And I think I made that compromise. And if I didn't have to make that compromise, given a choice, if I could go back, I would welcome if somebody could have given me the right kind of advice at that time.
Great, ma'am. So 20 years ago, you told you entered banking. So how was banking segment at that time, and how different it is now? What are the challenges then versus what are the challenges now?
So the inside joke in banking that we always have is everything changes every day, yet nothing changes in years. Yeah. So from an operational perspective, okay, especially the Indian banking system, I am not at liberty to talk about banking, in the rest of the world. But it's not too different. That's another myth that I want to bust. There's really no difference. In fact, we are the fifth largest economy of the world. So understand that our banking system is that much stronger. It is one of the most fabulous banking systems in the world. Now, given that, the customer requirements 20 years back vis-a-vis the customer requirements today have undergone a massive change. So 20 years back, if somebody was to tell me that I would have made a payment to a vegetable vendor using my phone, I would have said that's from a science fiction movie.
Correct.
But today, I don't know, especially post-COVID, how many times I have withdrawn cash from the ATM. So banking from that perspective has undergone a massive change. Banking has today gotten, so even when I was in the bank, and earlier we used to say, okay, what is your competition? That's a very typical strategy. Yeah, that's a very typical corporate sambhashan that happens. As soon as you come in the morning, okay, who's your competition today? What are you going to get? We started realizing that earlier, if I would have said ICICI or Axis or SBI or somebody else is my competition, I found myself saying in the last 2-3 years that Amazon, Flipkart has become my competition.
Okay.
Because the way that people looked at banking changed. So therefore, we had to evolve faster. So if there is something that had remained constant in banking, then that is change. As cliched as it may sound, the most constant thing about banking is change. You've got to learn to adapt to the new.
Correct. So since you have spoken about your competitors being Amazon and Flipkart today vis-a-vis other banks yesterday, so in fact the banking operation itself has changed. As you told, the number of operations earlier was deposit loans.
Correct.
Today that has gone into say 100 things.
Absolutely.
Right, from you do investments, you do payments. In payments itself is a huge market. Deposits is a huge market. So how do you view it from that angle? That banking, since the number of operations have increased, the scope of it has increased or not?
The scope of this has tremendously increased. So today I would say the biggest scope in banking is the skill of analytical skills, which one would have never expected a banker to have. One would have expected a banker to have accounting skills. In the previous generation, one would have expected the banker to have focus and discipline in what he does. But today, all these aspects have moved into artificial intelligence. All these aspects have moved into software. So the way I say it is, I say that banking has moved from a transaction-oriented industry to an interaction-oriented industry, and it is now moving to a delight. It's now moving to a customer journey-based industry. So earlier there was transaction. We curbed it, we got into interactions. Yes. Now it is customer journey. The journey the customer wishes to take, the bank has to lead from the front. Because banking is that one industry that leads the economy from the front. If the bank has got it right, then the economy has got it right. Yeah.
Perfectly said, Ram.
Yes.
So how would you tell graduates today who think even today the banking is a very typical sort of a profession and a very boring sort of a profession versus what you observe from inside the bank?
Absolutely.
What advice or what suggestion would you give them in terms of banking industry being a very boring industry?
Okay. Is there even an impression like that banking industry is a boring industry? I welcome you to come into one of my banks. So this happened to me, when I joined the bank, there was a lot of jubilation in the family. People typically thought I've got a 9 to 3 kind of job, that I will go with my lunch bag at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll have my lunch at 1 o'clock, and then I would be given some cash to count, and I'll count the cash, and by 3:30 all cash will be counted and I'll come out. And there was a lot of shock and surprise when there were times when I came back home by 11:30, 12:30. No, that's not the job, but then I'm saying it can get as exciting as that. Our job starts after the customer hour ends.
Great.
Okay, so there is a lot of inside jobs, very exciting phase of banking that happens after the customer hours have ended. So my advice to graduates would be, don't judge the book by its cover. Don't do it at all, because banking is not what the previous generations have told you what it is. Banking is something very different today.
Correct.
It is very customer facing. It is very customer oriented. Earlier, banking was very process oriented.
So just to put it in a single line, for people those who think it is a boring job or a boring industry, it is nothing but to be on your toes.
Absolutely, to be on your toes and be agile and be smart every day, and so I took up sports and fitness after I joined banking, because I really had to keep myself active. I had to keep myself mentally and physically fit for me to be able to do the banking job.
Great, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, since you mentioned about people those who want to come into banking sector, a few words of advice to the graduates who are looking at this on how they can enter and what are the myths oriented which they have that as graduates they cannot enter the banking segment and you need some kind of a professional degree. Are all these true, or a graduate can get a banking job?
So what better way, Yogesh? You started off by telling me about my educational qualifications. So I was a BSc in zoology, and then I did my MA in psychology, and then I did an MBA, and then I went on to do an executive MBA. Banking has to do, yes. So I'm not trying to say you don't have to have an academic qualification for a bank. Bank is one of the highest. Okay, let me rephrase it. Bank is one of the jobs which requires a very high academic acumen. You need it, because this is a job where you will be constantly studying your products. You have a large suite of products in the bank. Banks, basically, if I was to divide it into three broad segments, there is corporate banking, there is retail branch banking, and then there is wholesale banking, where your operations, transactions and everything happens. Corporate banking is where you're dealing with corporates. You're dealing with large accounts, like an Infosys or a Wipro. But 99.9% of the bank is retail branch banking.
Yes.
The branch that you see on the road, where you come across branches on the road. Now there, you are dealing with customers day in and day out. So the kind of skill that you need for that is the skill that you need for any retail business, which is you should be someone who has got excellent listening skills. You should be somebody who's got excellent analytical skills. You should be someone who's got a passion to articulate. Knowing and communication is not enough if you can't customize your talk to the customer. So my advice to graduates would be, no, do not limit yourself by thinking that I need to be qualified in a particular field for me to enter banking. There are many skill development programs that we do.
What I understand based on whatever you have told is if there is any stigma associated to banking, just break that, and what matters is performance. Would I be right in telling that?
100% yes. Yes. I would say it's not even about stigma. I would say it is about preconceived notions that it is very tough or it is very boring. I think high time that we broke it, because the number of jobs that is coming up in banking, as per the studies from Naukri and Monster.com, given that, for the youth of today, you'll also have to look at where is the demand and supply.
Correct.
So given that perspective, there are so many jobs coming up in the banking sector that one should be open to the jobs in the banking sector.
Yeah. Well, what all skills are required in the banking career, and do you think a practical oriented course helps in helping them get those skills? What would you talk on those aspects?
In fact, it's the other way around. I would insist that you take a practical skills oriented course, because as an insider, what is the issue that I have faced the most? As somebody who was an employer, I have faced this issue when young graduates would join us, and from a particular university, there would be 100 people who join us at a particular point in time, but 6 months from them, there will only be 10 of them left. And most of them would have left not because they're not able to do that particular job, but they have not even understood what are the demands of the job and why they are required to do it. And they just get frustrated and leave. And the employer also does not have the luxury to train them once they have come on the job.
Yes.
Because even for the employer, the clock is ticking. The meter is already running. So I need productivity from an employee from the time that he has come on. Yes, there are those standard onboarding programs and there are those standard product training programs. But there you don't have the luxury to pick up the skill that is required for you to deliver on the job. So if you already pick up that skill and you go, then you find yourself in a very comfortable position. It's like going in with a Google map.
Yeah.
So it could be a long journey. It's going to be an arduous journey, but you already know, where to expect the rock and where to expect water.
Yeah.
Right. So practical trainings, from what I have seen, and in this last 15 years of transitioning that I had seen, earlier the rate of attrition was very, very high. But however, some of them who were able to, kind of find the rhythm and be there for more than a year have stuck on for the next 15-20 years, somebody like me. But in the new generation of students, I find that, or the freshers who are coming in from colleges, I find that though we tell them this in, while we are doing the campus interviews, when they come in, they are a bit delusional, and they are also a little fearful that they won't be able to do it. And then they start jumping jobs. So, and they're not going anywhere with it, it's like a rolling stone gathers no moss. They're not, in 5 years, they find themselves exactly at the place
Same.
where they started. However, when there is someone who goes in with the required skill sets, which is listening skills, communication skills, negotiation skills, goal setting skills, I find that those kind of students who are coming in, those kind of freshers who are coming in, are there for the longer run. Certainly, work is going to be difficult for them, but they know what to expect from work, and therefore they come in with their eyes open, and that makes all the difference.
Correct. So in fact, this also goes with the statistics. In fact, last year only, that 1 in every 3 people leave job in the first 1 year.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm not. 30% has been the
attrition rate
in most organizations, and I'm not just
It's a
talking about
huge
banking.
number.
It's a huge. So look at the cost that the employer is
Exactly.
involved. Look at your time, and also look at the confidence levels that falls as soon as you've taken the first job. I mean, imagining failing at the first thing that you set out to do in life. And that kind of completely lowers your morale, and you really take about 10-15 years trying to find yourself back.
Yes.
Why would you want to subject yourself to that kind of a trauma just because you don't want to make a small investment in skill building?
In fact, apart from this, the skill building program, also graduates somewhere need to invest in understanding what they want to choose in the first place.
Correct.
You also
Yes.
recommend that?
Yes, I would recommend that. I would recommend that once you get a hang of what you want to do, then go pick up the particular course.
Yeah.
And this is also something that I keep saying, that never regret a course that you have done, because it will come to help you at some point in time. There can never be an educational program that has ever gone wrong.
Exactly.
It can always be there at the back of your head. Like, I was always interested in psychology. I did my MA in psychology for 20 years. I never put it to use. After 20 years, now that I've come out, I've become a life coach.
In fact, for 20 years also, when you're interacting with a person, it automatically comes to you.
So even when it comes to banking programs, I keep telling them this, you may not become a banker, but you will end up doing banking in your life.
Yeah.
Whether it is personal banking that you'll do for yourself in terms of investments or savings or, payments, you still need to understand banking. Or let's say you get into some other organization, and let's say you are in a leadership level tomorrow where you want to understand where should the organization invest, how should we get into an acquisition, with some other organization. All over there, banking comes to your help. So a course in banking can never get wasted.
Yeah. And also, coming from a point of view of jobs, banking is much more stable as a career. Correct.
Look at me. I did one year and so many other things, but then I did one short 15 years. So banking is a marathon. It's not a 100-meter sprint at all.
Exactly.
So if you're ready for the long run, welcome to banking.
Because today people are looking, at least what the statistics says, people are looking for jobs which they can, be there for a longer time. And banking as an industry, even though they are not aware of, you would say that yes, a longer run is much better in banking.
Any day. In fact, it is in the longer run that you make wealth in banking. Banking is an industry which is one of the highest paid industries. So not banking, the BFSI industry is one of the highest paid industries in India today. So if there is a demand, if there is a supply and there is also high pay, then
why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have the cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But BFSI is also one of the most booming sectors today.
It will be because like I said, the Indian economy is doing well. It is one of the largest economies in the world. It obviously has to be led by the banking industry.
So coming out of that, coming to you or your personal career trend, being a woman, how difficult was it for you to start off banking, and how difficult it is today in this society for the woman to take up a career in banking?
Okay, a very what should I say, very bold question you've asked me. Let me be very honest, okay? And I'm not going to be nice about this answer at all. The fact is, there is a lot of stigma attached to a woman being in the sales career. Personally, and because the path in which I was involved in banking had to do with client facing and sales target oriented roles, I had to go out and meet a lot of clients. Now there is that moment where you wonder at times when a client is confirmed an appointment with you, whether or not it is appropriate for you to go and meet the client at home. Will he be alone? Is that a right medium for you to be meeting? Or even if you're going to an office and meeting the person, then should you be taking somebody along? These kind of questions keep coming. So the only advice that I would give the future generations that came up in banking when I had risen through the ranks successfully was, be as safe as any other man would be. So this is not about a woman or a man being in a career. Today, men and women are everywhere across the world. So do what is safe for you. So if you are a person who drives a car, then follow the safety standards of driving a car. Would you like to go and meet somebody at 9 in the night? Is it that required? Because if that person is not available for you to meet at any other time, then it may be okay for you to go and meet. But always be safe than sorry. I mean, you can always request a senior person in the bank to accompany you for a client meeting like that. So yes, those sensitivities are always involved with a woman in the corporate world. However, if you don't, hang in there, and if you don't continue with your game, then how will you encourage more women to come up? So my sincere request to those who are watching is, please don't let gender come in. This job can be done by anybody, as good as a man or as a woman. So welcome to the world and experience it for yourselves, and you will realize that it is not much. The gender doesn't make a difference at all.
Exactly, like in any other career.
Yes.
Yeah. So, have you seen any change in the number of women then versus now?
Yes, of course, I've seen a lot of changes in the number of women. So, because I'm also on the board of IIM, and IIM Kozhikode especially, we have been very particular about diversity. We have, it's not like there is forced diversity in there, but then we have been conscious about the fact that we want to take in as many number of women as we can. Because one of the things that we have decided or we have deliberated on, I wouldn't say decided, is if we really have to work towards this motto that we need more women in the corporate world tomorrow, then we will also have to ensure supply.
Yeah.
Right? It's only when I ensure that more number of women come up and take those relevant courses that there will be more number of women to work. So it's going to be a constant productive cycle.
Yeah.
You have to keep pushing more number of women into the corporate world, and then there will be more number of women in the corporate world. And the corporate world will have to offer jobs and support women despite the other callings from the society that they have, to ensure that they stick on to the jobs, like the maternity benefits. Those things will have to be much stronger. Those policies will have to be much more supportive, so that the woman is able to come up in a bank.
This that we have been seeing in the last few years, and we hope it continues.
It will, and it is also upon women to ensure that we stick to the game and not give up at the first sign of distress.
Correct. So slightly deviating from the banking sector, what advice would you give to women, especially since we are talking about that, on any other sector? Is it something different in other sector, or it is same across whichever career you choose for a woman?
Okay, so I am someone who comes from the school of thought who says, I wish there was a day, and I'm hoping I see the day in my own life that I am not called a woman leader and I'm just called a leader.
Perfect. Very, very well said. Yeah. So that was from a banking friend. If you talk from graduates, taking up jobs, taking up careers, a lot of graduates just stumble upon a career. They don't know which to choose, and they choose something, and then sometimes they are forced to stay. The situation in the family, somewhat that they are forced. They don't have an option.
Yes.
So, would you recommend them, or would you recommend colleges to have more programs on how to choose a career, or it is okay to even today have a career just by going to 5 different job interviews and then picking up which you get?
Academics only make you a graduate. let's wake up and smell the coffee. This has got nothing to do with education institutions. They are doing their best. They are doing what they ought to be doing. However, the graduate must realize that in order to become a professional, you need to pick up the skills. And there are organizations today who are imparting skills. You must look at this as an investment in yourself. This is a one-time investment that you're doing for a transition. You know, this is like, let's say you've arrived by train and you want to catch a flight, and then there is a connecting train that you have to take. You've got to take that connecting train. You can't, or this could be any combination. You know, you may have come by car and then you have to take a bus, but then you have to walk that little mile, you know, for you to reach the bus stop. So you have to walk that mile. And so like I was telling you, Yogesh, even earlier, that my partner and I, we have started this company in Chennai called Shraddha Talent Management, where we are doing skill building programs for young graduates to become banking professionals. Now, my experience has also been that a lot of people have shied away while they have understood the benefits of the course and what this can do to them, and you know, and how fast they can get placed in banks. They shy away saying, but I've just become a graduate, let me go and try getting a job. Now what happens is that, you know, it's that line from said by Yoda, no, do or do not try.
Correct.
So the moment you say you're trying, you're already not in it completely.
Yeah.
Now when you come, you learn the nuances of that particular job, and then when you go and sit doing that role, one is you will not have the urge to run out faster. You will have the passion because you already know what's coming. You're prepared for the long run. So then you start working towards it. We help you to work towards your promotions and your increments. And then you are there for the longer run. And at any point in time in any game, when you're there for a longer run, that itself is fun.
Yes. So what I understood is there are basically two segments. One is graduates are confused in what they are doing and therefore they don't opt for something. Second, there could be a cost segment from an investment point of view that they don't want to invest.
Right.
So how would you address these two things? That first, they are confused on how should they address their confusion. Second, on if they are still thinking on investing in their careers, how or what would you say them to break that and, you know, go ahead and invest because it will be fruitful in the longer run?
So one is, I would say, you know, platforms like yours, you know, where you're giving them options about where are the jobs available. Read up the job description, see what suits your personality. So there is this other study, you know, which says that 89, and this was a very recent study. It was a 2019 study that says 89% of the employees, of the new employees who joined in an organization, felt that it was not their skill or their graduation that helped them do well in the job. It was how fast they adapted to the culture of the organization that helped them do well in the job. So please understand that unless you have a passion to do the job, you're not going to do well in that job. No matter how many ticks you have checked, how many boxes you have checked, you still need to have a passion. Number two is education. An investment in education can never be futile.
Correct.
So don't kind of double think on that. Think less and get into a skill building program. Skill building program is very, very important for you to become a professional. You will continue to remain a fantastic graduate. But that's not the aim of your life. As long as you wanted to come out in academics, that was your aim. And great, you have come there. But from here, there is a bridge to be passed. And you've got to pass the bridge. And you have to decide whether you want to take a bridge or you want to swim across or what you want to do. But you've got to do that. And that, that transition is to pick up a skill building program. And you can't expect an education institution to give you that. That was never their job.
Yes.
Their job was to give you a academic qualification. They gave you that. And they gave you that to the best of their abilities.
Correct. So since we are talking about this practical oriented program, a lot of times, or nowadays at least, we are seeing this trend happening in graduates particularly, that okay, why should I even do graduation? And I can only do a practical oriented course and go ahead. So do you think that approach also is right?
I would throw back some questions to you saying, would you rather be a cook or do you want to be a chef? You know, and there is a difference between the two.
Correct.
The second one obviously has gone to an MBA school and taken up the right kind of qualifications. And see, going into an academic institution is not merely to pick up education or a degree. Going into an academic institution is to bathe yourself in that environment. the kind of school, the kind of interaction that you will have in
Yeah.
class, the kind of debates and deliberation that you will have, the kind of professors who will be teaching you. There is a wealth of experience that you take away. And that experience cannot come if you just ended up doing a skill building program. So both are essential. It's like the pizza and the topping. You need both. You can't have
Correct.
one and say, oh, that was tasty. Standalone, both of them are not tasty, and both are insipid. So you need a combination of both.
Yeah, that's perfect, ma'am. So one final question, ma'am, and
Yes.
it's a time-based question.
Yeah.
So if you get 10 to 15 seconds to address a graduate on a banking career, what would be your piece of advice, or what would be your piece of communication to them?
Be open to interaction with fellow human beings, because I find that quality is going away. We're so obsessed with social media, with mobile, that we have today failed to look up into eyes and have an interaction. If you still have it in you that you can look up to somebody and speak, then you have it in you to become a man.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. That was really thank you for your time and your support for us.
I only hope that a lot of people who are watching this get inspired to take up a career in banking.
Definitely.
It can be very exciting, and it can give you a long-standing career. It's like
Yeah.
I said, you can have the cake and eat it.
Thank you so much, ma'am.